Hey, everybody, Jack Barrows here, but many of you know me as Jacky B. After 40 years behind the mic as a club and a mobile DJ, I'm bringing the mic in a new way. Welcome to Voices on Main Street, where local businesses get a voice to answer the real questions that people are actually asking. We keep it upbeat, honest, helpful, and we're bringing you clear conversations so you know exactly who you're trusting and who you're choosing on Main Street. Now, before we dive in, I want to take a minute and talk about why we do this. At Voices on Main Street, our mission is to help local businesses grow their visibility, strengthen their influence, and build local authority right here in the community. Now, here at Voices on Main Street, we shine the spotlight on the business, but it takes the whole Voices on Main Street family to actually lift them up. So stick around because a little later in the show, I'm going to show you exactly how we give today's guest the Voices on Main Street family boost. And right alongside that, I do want to mention that we have something we call Voices for the Voiceless. And that's our commitment to no kill, no research, rescues, adoption facilities that protect the animals who can't speak for themselves. So when you listen to this show, you're not just hearing business stories, you're part of something bigger, using real voices to support local businesses, meaningful causes, and the people doing the work without a big marketing machine behind them. And yes, it looks like I'm reading some of this. That's not because I am. I want to get it right. I want to get it right for our guests. I want to get it right for our community. And I want to get it right for the causes that we care about. And we got to have our sponsors. So we're going to, all right. I just want to take a quick moment to tell you what makes Voices on Main Street different. If you're watching this episode, it's because you want real answers. And that's what Voices on Main Street is built around, asking the questions that people are already asking, whether they're typing it into Google, asking Alexa, Siri, or even your friends. These are the questions that matter before you spend your time, your money, or your trust. Every conversation you hear on this show is all about clarity, understanding how things really work straight from the people living and working right here in your community. And when you tune in, you're doing more than listening. You're helping shine a light on local voices, the local businesses, and local stories that deserve to be heard. So this conversation is helping you. Stick with us, and let's keep moving Main Street forward together. All right, back to the show. And we're back. Okay, today's episode is a good one. If you've ever struggled to explain what your business does in a way that people actually understand, especially online, this conversation is for you. Today, I'm sitting down with Brian Curl from Curl Animation, and we're diving into animated advertising. Now, Curl Animation helps businesses turn ideas, services, and offers into short animated ads that make sense fast. This is the kind that stop confusion before it costs you a customer. And here's why you want to stick around. And we're diving into when animated advertising actually makes sense. We're talking about what businesses get wrong with digital ads and how animation helps people understand your message quicker. So, whether you're a business owner trying to start out online or someone curious about how modern advertising really works, this episode will give you clarity. Brian, welcome to Voices on Main Street. How are you
Thanks,
today?
Jackie. I'm good. How are you?
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, I love hanging out with people. So I'm in my glory right now. Okay, so it's one of my favorite traditions here on Voices on Main Street, and we call it Pass the Mic. Every guest doesn't just steer their story, they leave something behind for the next voice coming down Main Street. Now, our last guest was Paige from Sparking Organic Clean. Paige helps homeowners and families keep their spaces clean using eco-friendly, non-toxic cleaning solutions, especially for people who care about health, safety, and sustainability in their homes. Now, she left a question for you. Now, the mic is yours. Here's what she asked you, Brian. What's something that you used to believe about success or growth that you no longer agree with?
I
And you
don't
can take
agree.
that. Sorry.
I used to believe that you could that all your business could come from word of mouth without advertising. And I don't believe that now. Because of social media, I think that the majority of advertising doesn't come from TV commercials or word of mouth. It comes from advertising on social media.
Excellent. Well, that's great insight. Now, we do want you to remember that before we wrap at the end of the day, you're also going to be leading us a question for our next guest. But that's exactly why we have some mic, ladies and gentlemen, because those questions make us all better. Again, at the end of the show, we will ask you that again. All right. So now we're going to go into our next segment. And this one's really, really important. And we call this People Are Asking. These are the real questions, folks, that you're actually typing into Google, you're asking Siri or Alexa. And it's important that these are questions that people are asking when they're trying to figure out if animated advertising makes sense for their business. There's only one rule: keep it clear and confident. Again, not just say what you do and who it's for, just once in the answer. If I do have to come back around, I may ask you to simplify it, but I do want you to give her a complete answer, Brian.
Okay.
And then, like I said, if I may reframe that question if necessary. All right. So, our first question for you today is: what is animated advertising for small businesses?
Well, animated advertising can be anything from a product ad or a company ad that just has scrolling words and movement on the ad, or scrolling product across the ad, like a shampoo bottle splashing up through water, that kind of advertising. 3D advertising, character advertising is something like you would see with the M&M commercials where you have the animated M&Ms talking, or the General Life Insurance Company where you have the General, he's an animated character that's actually put into a real life video. And so that's what animated ads are. And it's been shown that when people are scrolling through the internet, that they're 7 times more often to stop and watch an animated ad than they are a still ad.
Excellent. Excellent. I love that. Now, let me say, ask this. Give me the 30-second version of what is animated advertising for small business.
An animated ad can be anywhere from an 8 second to a 15 second to a 20, I wouldn't go more than 20 second advertisement that could be an ad like, let's say, an online dental school would have an advertisement of a animated character talking about the animation, talking about the school, giving information, a short amount of information that's clear and precise, with maybe a setting of them sitting in a dental office or sitting in a chair, standing and talking, with a video beside them about the company. So that would be an ad for an online dental assistant school, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So I guess I'm really looking for, because each of those explanations were great, but they were also very long. So
Mhm.
the goal on this show is to create a to be able to use this content in an ad or
Mhm.
in a reel.
Right.
And to do that, what I would like from you is give me one takeaway. So, Brian, tell me, what is animated advertising for small businesses?
It is advertising with animated product or characters in a short video on social media.
Excellent, excellent. Now, my next question that people are asking is, how does animated advertising work for local companies?
Well, it gives them more views because, as I said before, people that are scrolling will stop on an animated ad 7 times more often than a regular photo ad. And so it gives them more visibility online.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, that kind of leads right to my next people are asking question, which is animated advertising effective for small business marketing?
Yes, it is. That's why you see even the large companies use animated ads. See a lot of it in the Super Bowl because it does grab attention, whether you're a local business or whether you're a national business.
Excellent, excellent. Another people are asking questions are what types of businesses benefit from animated advertising?
Any kind of business. It can be anything from a service company to a restaurant to a music artist wants a music video. So any kind of business can benefit from that.
I see. People are asking, How long does it take to create an animated advertisement?
Well, the kind of animation that we do is done with mocap for the most part, which is motion capture. And so we can do an animated ad and have it completed, the concept worked out with the customer, and complete the ad within 2 weeks, which is very fast compared to what they call frame to frame, which is what I am trained in. But if you've ever seen an animated movie, it takes years and years to make because a regular animator doing frame to frame they'll only finish about 18 seconds a week of animation. But with mocap, we can move that along a lot faster. And now that AI has come into the picture, we're going to be working with that to improve what we can do there too.
Excellent, excellent. All right. And I think you may have touched on this once before. What makes animated ads more engaging than static ads?
Well, anything that's movement in front of your eyes is going to grab your attention more than a static ad. And also with an animated ad, you can put a lot of humor into it. You can put a lot of feeling into it, where you don't get that with static ads.
See, I see. Yeah, one more question that people are asking is, how much does animated advertising typically cost?
It depends on what they want. If they want a 8 second, 16 second, I can do an 8 second animated ad with one character that we provide for about $250 to $300. And then
Okay.
you own that ad and you can run it as many times as you want. And if
Nice.
you're running a special, you can always add to that ad. You can take that ad and put a special at the end, and then when another special comes along, you can change that ending.
I see. Excellent. All right. So you get to you build these animations that they can be reused with other animations that
Right. You
or
can
ads that you make.
use them as branding. Yeah, yeah. I mean, get people to recognize your character for say, like the general on the general insurance and
Right.
Geico, the lizard. So
Right.
they, yeah.
Mhm. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Well, let me ask you this. People are asking, who is animated advertising not a good fit for?
I can't imagine anybody that's not a good fit for if you're wanting to promote your business or your product to the public.
Okay. So some of my clients would it be good for a chiropractor?
Yes, yes,
All right. Would it be good for party planners?
yes,
Would it be good for real estate people?
yes.
All right. All right.
There's,
Oh,
yeah. Anybody with a business I mean, anybody with a business could have a good animated ad that would catch attention and grab people's and keep their attention because people have a short attention span these days. And so we find when people are scrolling and there's a static ad, they just scroll right by it. So
I see. I see. Now, people are asking, how do businesses get started with animated advertising?
they would contact me. They can call me or they can email me, and I can give them a free consultation. And then I can send them a creative brief that's going to ask questions about what their business is like, what their goals are, what their customer base is like. If they have any ideas for what they want, or if they want us to help them create something. And then they fill that form back out and send it back to us, and we read through it and contact them back and start working with them on what their needs are.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. One more. Rounding out the top 10 here. How do you choose a reliable animated advertising company?
Look at their past animations, if they have a website, if they have a Facebook page, and they have, whether or not it's an ad, or a lot of animators will do what they call a demo reel. And it may just have animations that they've done that may not be even advertisements. They just maybe animations. But make sure the quality is there that you want.
I see. Excellent.
And make sure that the people that you're working with have have some training in animation. I myself have finished 3 years of animation school and graduated. I also attended and graduated from a course through Sony Animation. Just make sure that who you're working with isn't using somebody else's animation, throwing it up on a site and saying they can do that.
Right. Good point. All right, folks, there you go. Those are the questions that people that are interested in animated advertising are asking right now, whether they're typing it into Google, they're asking Siri or Alexa. All right, so we covered all of that. Now we're going to shift gears a little bit because these are often questions that people forget to ask and that they should be asking. And we do know that the right question at the right time can save you money, stress, and a whole lot of wasted marketing. All right. So here's one question, and I guess I'm going to ask Brian if he agrees with it. So the first question is, what business goals should animated advertising support first?
Your business goal should be to engage with your customers.
Okay. All right. Great. Great. Now, what problem should an animated ad solve for the viewer?
It should gain you more viewability online to where you have more eyes on your ads that bring those eyes to your company for whatever your service or product is.
All right. And let me ask you this one more. What should a business prepare before hiring an animation company?
They should know what their goal is for the animation. If they want it to be a humorous animation, if they just want it to be a talking point animation, do they want a character animation, or do they just want a whiteboard animation, something that would just show informational but still have movement to it?
I see. All right, folks, you ready to hear that right there is gold. These questions can change outcomes, not just answers. And I want to slow it down and I want to get to the human behind the business. So, what I want to do here at Voices on Main Street is get to know the person for a minute. So, because people don't just hire a service, they hire the human behind it. So, these are just some random questions. So, let me ask you this, Brian. What's a lesson that you had to learn the hard way?
That animation is not an easy thing to do.
I'll be honest with you. I tried it, so yes, he's right because I tried it on the shelf and said, "Yeah, I'll try it someday."
I've always been artistic, and so I thought it would be a simple thing. I can draw pictures, and when I got into 3D animation, I realized just how much goes into it and how underappreciated the animators on these large movie projects and stuff are not given the credit due because they put a lot of hours in. Uh,
Yeah, I
it's
see.
very hard. Yeah.
All right, one more. What's something most people would never guess about you?
That I also am a songwriter, and I do offer through the animation company and separately too. I can write jingles for companies. You can have a jingle with your ad if you want. I've been a writer and producer for about 20 years. And so I write music. I have talented musicians that I work with out of Nashville that I send the songs to, the jingles, and we get on a Zoom call and we cut the jingle. We can have a jingle done within a week and have it back to the client. So that's something that people probably wouldn't know about me.
Excellent, excellent. And I want to say right here, folks, at the beginning of the episode, you heard one of Brian's jingles. He wrote that for the Voices on Main Street family, and I've gotten an amazing response from it. Everyone has given me a thumbs up on that, Brian. So
Thank you.
excellent job, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, and I love that. That's why people connect. It's not just what you do; it's who you are. All right, we're
Yes.
moving right along. So now we're going to go into what we call the local loop. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. There's always a purpose to what we do here at Voices on Main Street. This is called the local loop. It's our mystery wheel. One spin, one landing, or whatever it lands on, that's what we're going to do. So here's what's on the wheel today. the love drop. Now, this is where the guest can give an audience a special offer, a hookup. We've got the local lift where Brian will shout out to a local business that he respects in the area. Pro tip job. That's going to be one quick insider tip people can use right away. We have behind the business something personal people don't usually get to hear about how this business came to be. The curveball cue. And that's a wild card. That's no prep. That's just real because I don't know what it is right now. I haven't made that question up. And so it'll be a surprise question for me as well as you folks. And the last segment on our wheel is what we call the Voices on Main Street push. And that's where the you we ask you, the viewers, to take one positive action and to help the community, whether it's to help our guests and boost our guests or to support our cause for the voiceless, animal shelters and stuff like that. All right. Let me pull this up. We actually have a wheel to spin. I do need to share my screen with you to do that. The wheel there, Brian.
There it is. Yep, I see it.
All right, we're going to click it out. All right, folks, we'll see what it is. Again, this is the Voice on Main Street, the local loop, and it's spinning by local lift. It's spun by tip drop. Oh, my goodness. So,
Right.
just behind the biz. All right. So, we got a little insight into your personal life. Why don't you give us a little something how that personal life, turned into curl animation?
I I actually was sick and I was recovering from surgeries, and I'd always had an interest in animation. And so I started thinking I could teach myself animation, and that companies would maybe local companies would want animated ads. And so as I was trying to learn animation, I found out how hard it was, and that's when I applied for school. And so I just finished my schooling a few months ago and have been trying to get my name out and get this company up and running. I've done a few ads for different people. I really enjoy doing it and helping come up with concepts for their ads. And so that's where it launched from.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Thank you, sir. So that was behind a little insight behind the business here, why we're talking about animated advertising for local businesses today. Okay. This is kind of one of my favorite segments, and some of my younger viewers might not recognize it. Some of my older viewers definitely will. It's time to make the donuts, right? And this is the part of the show where we turn today's conversation into real opportunity for our guests. And for those of you that don't know the story, the almost a Pillsbury Dough, he was an animated character, wasn't he? The
Yes,
baker,
yes.
they turned him into
Pillsbury
an animated
Doughboy.
character.
Yes, yes.
And Pillsbury Doughboy was the character. So that gives you some insight. But it used to be he would get up, it was a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, and the baker gets up, of course, at 2 or 3 in the morning and makes the donuts before we come in to get them at 5. So it became an analogy to time to make money. And that's exactly what this segment is. It's time to make money, right? But we want to practice. And what I want you to do, folks, I need you to pay attention here. Because what's going to happen, I'm going to read 3 commercial options. And then Brian is going to choose which one he feels most aligned with, who he wants to read it. If the first reading I did was great, no problem. If not, we can do it again. He may want to read it. He also has the opportunity to provide his own if he wants. And now, you folks watching today, I want you to put in the comments which one of these options you think is a Voices on Main Street ad, right? If it resonates with you, it's going to resonate with other people. All right. So you get a vote too. Now, the other thing too is I'm going to take that a step further. I always like to change things up. Brian and I did a show on his appliance repair business. So if you need something fixed, he can do that too. But I've added some stuff. I'm always adding stuff to the show to make it better. Okay. So on our time to make the donuts, we're probably going to start a competition on a monthly thing where we take that month's donut commercials and see which was the best of the best, and then we'll finish out the year with the year's best time to make the donuts. All right, let's get to work here. This is version 1. All right, this is the basis for this is authority. If you all right in 3, 2, 1. If you've ever struggled to explain what your business does in just a few seconds, animated ads. See, we'll definitely want to re-record that one. Aspen. What is Aspen? 3, 2, 1. If you've ever struggled to explain your business or what your business does in just a few seconds, animated advertising can solve that problem. Curl animation helps businesses turn complex ideas into short, clear, animated ads that people actually understand. And when your message is easy to follow, trust builds faster. If clarity matters in your marketing, curl animation is a smart place to start. All right, that was version 1. Version 2. In local businesses don't get much time to make an impression. Animated advertising helps your message stand out without shouting. Curl Animation works with businesses to create animated ads that feel simple, human, and easy to remember. When people understand what you do, they're more likely to support you. Curl Animation helps make that connection happen. All right, folks, that was version 2. Version 3. And I can resemble this one. All right, you ready? Here we go. Attention is short. Confusion costs businesses. Animated advertising helps people get your message quickly. Curl Animation creates animated ads for websites, social media, and digital campaigns that explain what you offer in seconds. If your marketing needs to land faster, animated advertising from Curl Animation is worth a look. All right, Brian, which version do you think you want to make into an actual commercial today?
I like 3.
You like 3. Did I read it good, or do you want me to read it one more time? Or do you want to read it?
I like the way you read it.
Okay, awesome. All right, folks, you heard that. Brian chose version number 3. Attention is short. I resemble that remark, and I bet you do too. Because if you're watching this, I'm sure you scroll through social media all the time, and you know what Brian is saying here today is true. Well, we want to know from you, which version of those commercials resonated with you? 1, 2, or 3? Put it in the comments. You may get to choose the winner. All right. That's our time to make the donuts. And now it's time for us here at Boys on Main Street to make the donuts. A word from our sponsors. All right. And we're back. Okay, we're moving right along. In our next segment, before we wrap up, we always want to make sure we leave something with you folks. And what we want to do today, we didn't get a chance to hit the local lip on the wheel, so we're going to do it right here. Brian, shout out one local business in the villages there that you respect, what they do, what your people go buy a book from. It could be a local restaurant or somebody you do business with. Who were you shouting out into in the villages area?
Starvo's and Sons Pizza in Leesburg, which is, well, it's in Fruitland Park, which is just adjacent to the villages.
Stavros, Stabros?
Stavros, yes.
All right, you heard it, fellas. You folks down in the area, stop by Stavros. Tell them you heard it here on Voice on Main Street, and tell them that Brian from Curl Animation said that you guys are the bomb. Excellent. And that's why we do this show, folks. Okay. Now, our next segment moving right along is what we call Flip the Mic. So up to this point, I've been doing all the talking, and it's more like a traditional interview. We call this segment Flip the Mic because for a moment, I'm not asking the questions. Brian, I'm going to give the microphone to you. And you get to choose whether you want to ask me a question, you want to do a shout out, you have an open mic to say whatever you would like. Sir, the mic is yours.
I'd like to know, with you and your experience in DJ work, is this doing a podcast, is it more enjoyable than what you did as a DJ? Or is it not as enjoyable, but what you need to do at this point in your life?
So that's a good question, Brian. I love DJing. And let me be specific about the type of DJing that I love. I love being in front of people, or not really in front of them, because I hate to shine the light on myself. I love shining it on someone else. That's why I love doing weddings, because I shine the light on the bride and groom. But to this day, the greatest high in the world for me was if I'm playing my music, I've got a dance floor full, and it's got to be full because I'd be stressing if not.
Yeah.
And when I start to bring in the next song, and they hear those first notes, and they scream like "yeah," to me, that elevates me off the ground, and it just it's hard to explain the feeling that I get. Now, with that being said, the interesting thing, and some of you, if you've seen the show before, know that DJing was always my side gig. Like I rehabbed houses before it was popular. I did a whole bunch of different things before. I did end my career as a full-time DJ and club manager, and but so before I ended that career, I started thinking about marketing, and I wanted to help local businesses, and I help boomers like myself get digital because I could see that type of advertising. Digital advertising was the wave of the future. But I've done it for 10 years. I DJ for 40. I marketed for 10 years. But you know what? When a friend of mine and I were talking, we came up with this idea, and I did a couple of shows, and I think it was the second show, and I said, I feel like this is what I was meant to do with my life. It hard to believe at 70 years old, I found my calling, but I really feel like this podcast is something that's giving me dreams again. I love my career. I love the people I met, but I am so looking forward to the future in this podcast. So thank you for asking that, Ryan.
Well, you and your podcast are appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, folks. You heard it here. A little background story for you. We're coming down the home stretch. Now, before we wrap, we do one thing every episode because this show's a relay, it's not a one off. And we started with Brian answering Paige from Organic Clean, Sparkling Organic Clean question. And so now Brian is going to get to pass a question forward. So here's the goal. And this is for you folks too, because I want you to answer in the comments your answer to his pass the mic question. So pay attention, all right? So here's the goal: leave one question that pulls a real story out of the next guest or the viewers, and keep it over there and avoid a yes or no question. Brian, what question do you want to leave for our next guest on Voices on Main Street?
If you're a service company or a product company, what is your main goal for your customers to take away from your company after the service or product sale?
So, if you're a service or product company, what is the one thing that you want your customers to feel or to receive from your product or service? Awesome. Awesome. All right. I love that. I repeated it. But, folks, that is for you folks that are in business. For those of you that are not, what do you feel you should get from a business owner? When you do business with a service or a product, what do you expect to feel? What do you expect to get? You can answer that in a number of different ways. I look forward to reading your comments, so make sure you leave them. All right. That question is officially on the deck for the next episode. And Voice on Main's fam, again, I want you to answer in the comments. All right. That brings us to our next spot. This is what we call the Voice on Main Street Family Boost, right? All right, Voice on Main Street family, this is where we turn listening into action. You just heard Brian share his story and his expertise. Now it's your turn to help carry that voice just a little further. Now, here's how you can support Curl Animation. Like their content. You can share this episode. You can follow their page. You can subscribe. The best way to show some love specifically, that's easy, but has a lot of rewards, is to go to his Facebook page, Curl Animation. Again, it's Curl Animation on Facebook. Now, if you're an existing customer, leave a Google review. It is the single greatest online action that you can take for a local business to help them get found and build trust. Don't forget, remember our voice for the voiceless. Pick one local rescue. Give them a follow. Maybe share a pet that needs a new home. That's how the community lifts each other. This is our mystery gift section. This is thank you for supporting the show and supporting local. Now, by supporting it, if something that you've heard here encourage you to do business with Brian. If you have a local business you want to animate, hey, even if you want to do something for your social page, you don't own a business, but he can create characters for your social media, right, Brian?
Yes, yes.
Excellent. So I don't think it's just business here because I know I see some of the stuff you guys are putting out. I can do something great for you. So, Brian, what do you have for our guests, our viewers today?
If they tell me they found me through your show, they will get a free character design for their advertisement, which usually is a charge of anywhere from $150 to $200.
Excellent. Excellent. So you heard it right there, folks. He will, if you get an ad from Brian, he will give you a custom character, which is an additional fee, usually of 150 to 200 bucks, probably depending upon how complex it is. He does these great human figures, so he'll do that for you. So that's a mission gift. For those of you that stayed to the end, we truly appreciate that. Now, Brian, why don't you tell us the best way to contact you if you want to give us your information?
You can get through to us through the Facebook page at Curl Animation, leave a message, or you can contact us by email at curlanimation@gmail.com. Or you can call us directly at 417-483-8044. And again, that's Curl Animation, Curl, CURL, like you curl your hair.
Some perfect, perfect. Now we'll make sure all this is linked. You'll see it on the screen after the video. Thank you for being here. This was a great conversation. For the full story, bonus clips, and more conversations like this, visit voiceonmainstreet.com. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.